Okay, in our last video we took down that Ruger LC9. I just finished Cerakoting it. This is satin aluminum. Looks pretty sexy. Now let's start to reassemble it. In this video we'll do the complete slide. The next video we'll do the frame. Okay, so here we are. We're going to start with your slide here. Here's your extractor spring and plunger. We're going to drop that right in the gun here. You can see there's a little slot there for it. That's just going to slide right down in there. Take your time so you don't lose that that plunger. Now we're going to take the extractor itself. We're going to push that in there. And you're just going to shove her back till it locks in. So it may take you a second here to get it in, because that spring is very, very tight. Okay, that extractor went in pretty easy, even though considering how tight that spring was. As you can see, she's locked in pretty good. Now I'm going to move on to the blocker and the plunger and spring. I have an enhanced spring for it, so I'm just going to take this spring off the plunger right now. Just throw that to the side. I have a brand new spring, as you see here. Just going to slide that on there ever so slightly. Got that, and we're just going to put it right here in the blocker itself. Now you see that here. We're going to drop this straight down the hole, just like that. Just going to slide this way down in there. See, now it's seated. This is going to hold the firing pin in place as we lock it down. So here's our firing pin. See this nice groove in it right here? That's going to face up, because what's going to happen here is that's going to be retained in here. The blocker is going to hold that in the groove. Okay, the blocker is held in here by the rear sight. As you can see, I've got the sight slid in. So I'm going to take one of my roll pins. I'm just going to push the blocker and plunger down into the gun, like so. And I'm going to slide the sight over and lock it into place, like so. Now I'm not going to completely lock down the rear sight yet, because I want to make some adjustments. So I'm just going to put the screw in there just to hold it in place. And then now that I have that there, I'm going to move on to the firing pin. Okay, here's my firing pin. You see the little slot right here? That goes up. That's held in by the firing pin blocker. And this is my enhanced spring. This is a lower spring rate, so it'll just be a little easier on the recoil. So as I put this in here, I'm going to keep that notch that I just showed you facing up toward the top of the gun. And what that's going to do is, as I put this in, it's going to lock into place, and right here with the blocker, that's how you'll release the pin. So watch, I'll push down on the blocker, like so, and then the firing pin will just slide right in easily. So just to show you right now it's captured. So if I push down on the blocker right here, it's going to drop right out. Alright, now that I have the firing pin in the slide, right now it's being just retained by the firing pin blocker. So I'm actually going to take the firing pin retaining pin right here, and I'm going to drop it right into this hole. Just going to go down a little bit. Just give it a little tap, make sure it's seated. Hear that click? So now I know that's seated. So right now if I push down on the blocker, that firing pin will not drop out of the firearm. See? Okay. Okay, now we're going to get ready to install our loaded chamber indicator and loaded chamber indicator spring. But first I started the roll pin just to give it a little easy alignment. I used my roll pin starter and just placed her in there, gave it a little push, so now she's ready. So we're going to take our loaded chamber indicator flag right here, or loaded chamber indicator flag spring. Right. The spring is larger at the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that and we're going to place it right in here. Okay, now that I have the spring seated on top of the firing pin retaining pin, as you can see right there, I'm going to take my loaded chamber flag indicator. I'm going to place it right in the slot, right there. Hold it down. I'm going to take my roll pin punch. I'm going to slide it to the opposite side to retain it. So now it's ready. As you can see, now if I lift it up, it's loaded. So now I'm going to take my my roll pin punch here, and I'm going to place this pin inside the slide. Okay, the roll pin is now nicely flush on both sides, nice and even. You can see the flag works great, extractor works great. Now we're going to drop in our barrel. It's in. And I have a brand new enhanced, this is actually a heavier recoil spring, factory 16 pounds. This one is 20 pounds, just so to control the muzzle flip a little. So we'll put that into place here. And voila, gives a nice sexy look instead of plastic coming out the end.